sir.
So, tell us a little bit about Christine Woods.
Oh, well, I am very excited to do this film because I have a background in television, and so it's very fun to come out here and do this. I'm originally from Orange County, California, and I have a little bit of a musical background, which is another reason why this movie is so fun and exciting. And yeah, that's it. What else do you want to know?
Tell us about your character in the film.
I play Alicia Cantor, and I love Alicia Cantor. She is a wife and a mom, but I think first she's a person who has a lot of faith, a lot of trust, a lot of hope. She's a very positive person. She loves her family, is somebody that is always trying to help people be the best. And I think that a lot of women who are married and have children can relate to her, because I think that she's not someone who just settles for the ordinary. I think that if she sees that something special can happen, I think that she has faith in people's best. That's why I like Alicia.
That's great, boy. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like a real rock.
Yeah, she's very solid. She's very much, I think that sometimes people that are afraid just need someone that says, if it goes poorly, then I'm here for you. If you don't do what you set out to do, then you can just come home. And I think that having someone at home there, not even literally, but just emotionally, because you can be there physically and really not be there emotionally, but having someone at home in the emotional sense makes it so you can try and you can fail. And then that's okay, no matter what the outcome. Yeah.
What I enjoyed watching you play was loud noises in the
There's a storm
background.
inside the house.
That's right. Not the first one. And so,
Lightning storm.
what I enjoyed watching you portray was, for lack of a better term, tough love moments. Like when you look him in the eye and say, "Tell me now," or whatever the line is. Anyway, you can focus on her, not me. Tell me now, and I will never say a word again. I mean that.
Yeah.
As I watched that scene, that scene's been written for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
But when you guys did that scene, I was in tears thinking, my wife has said those words to me. I know lots of guys whose wife have said, you follow this dream or right now, or or you get off it, and I'll never say a word, but don't come,
Yeah.
don't come crying.
Right.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
just wondered what you were.
Yeah, well, it's funny because my husband, fiance, but he has said those things to me, where it's been a situation where I think that in the best of relationships, I think that, and not always at the same times, I think that at least one of you in any given moment is the one who pushes the other. And I think that those roles switch back and forth. I think a lot of times in really healthy relationships is conflict and challenge and, I want you to be the best. I want you to be the most authentic you that you can be. And I think that scene is really, I think it's really about that. I think it's really about challenging your partner to be as great as they can be. I mean, I think that, you fall in love with people for who they are and for what they have to offer. And I think that it's the first one to notice when your partner is not fulfilled and not happy and not challenged. So I think it really is when you take a vow to be married, I think that what you're really vowing is to be present and to be a mirror to your partner, and essentially to challenge them with compassion, of course, and support. But yeah, and I think that scene really captures marriage,
Yeah.
I think.
The other scene that captured maybe not the underbelly, but the other side of that is when you're in the hospital with his dad and he says, I can't come home now, and you've kind of had enough. Can you tell us about that? I mean, just because that was just so powerful to watch you have the exact same love but manifest in a different way that says
Yeah. And that's interesting. It's like the challenge to be the best you means what? Is it to be the most successful you? Is it to be the most authentic you? Is it to be the most loving you? And I think that it's just to be the most compassionate you. I think that in my life, I know that my partner challenges me to do a good job and get the part and be as accomplished as possible, but I think he challenges me mostly to be the most compassionate version of myself. And I think that comes in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes it is putting down what you're doing to win the medal or to get the big job or make the big money or have the big success. But sometimes it's also to just be quiet and be kind and retract and be there for your friends and family. And so I think that scene is, well, yes, I pushed you to be the best you, but you being the best you also includes being the most compassionate and the most loving. Yeah.
Tell us about working in this very loud house. Tell us about working with Andy Lauer. Crazy Andy Lauer.
Andy's the best. I love Andy Lauer. I love Andy Lauer because he's an actor and he talks to you in code, in emotional code, and I think that to elicit certain things, that is the best way to be. I think that the way he's able to feel what you're going through as a character and his ability to know and have that kind of compassion for what you're going through on that emotional level is really rare in a director. And I think it's making this film have a really, really strong emotional undertone, which I think is very, very valuable in a movie about, family, which I think this movie is about family. I think it's about artists. I think it's about risk, but I mostly think it's about family, and Andy is really dialed into that.
Cool. Tell us about the Boot Whisperer.
I think her name was Olga. In Wimberley,
Texas.
And she is the cutest, most adorable German lady who you walk into her boot store. It's a vintage boot shop, and she looks at your foot out of shoe, and she makes you put your weight on your foot, and she goes, okay, hold on. And she disappears, and she comes back with a pair of boots, and they fit. They fit. I mean, it's crazy. They fit. And she lets you wander around and try on what you want, but they don't fit. The ones you pick out, they don't fit, but the ones she picks out, they fit.
Working with Cheyenne, you get okay?
Cheyenne. He's amazing. Cheyenne Jackson is so unbearably talented that it just oozes out of him. He's the mix of someone who is extraordinarily gifted, but can also be so relatable and so grounded and so just normal average dad person that he's magnificent, and I'm definitely in love with him. Sorry, honey, I've fallen in love. It's true.
Indie films, it's a crazy thing, right? And I've said this a bunch of times, I'll say it more, that we're so grateful that you said yes to doing this, because it's, the little train that could, right? And so what makes you say, I'll do this, I'll give this a shot? Frankly, when I saw your audition, I was like,
You're so nice.
no, seriously, you were Alicia. I was like, and I called call Heidi, Scouts on it, and I said, I don't know who that person is, but that's who I saw when I wrote when I wrote about Alicia Cantor. And I was like, call her up, Anyway,
Yeah.
indie films and doing this and
Yeah. There's so many scripts, right? There's so many things. There's so many projects that you can do, and it really only takes 5 or 6 pages of a script to know that you buy it and that you believe it. And when I read this script, of course I was attracted to it because there's music in it and it's about family, and I love a script about a family that stays together and that goes through challenge, that isn't about I love you more, you don't love me enough, that it's an outside challenge and not an inside challenge. I think that's really rare, and I think it's really good. But within 5 or 6 pages, I remember thinking, oh, this is a real family. I know this family. This is the family that I relate to. And I think that there's all different kinds of families on television and all different kinds of relationships, but this is a relationship that I related to in my personal life. And that's a rare feeling when you read a script. I just wanted to be in this family.
and you are.
Yeah.
Great.
That's it.
I think that's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, Christine.